underway. With spring training officially underway, it's time to start looking at the fantasy baseball season. And the first step to that is finding us some sleepers. And today I've got 4 sleepers who I think can definitely help your team going forward. Our first player on the old chopping block is Miami Marlins ace Sandy Alcantara. And to me, he speaks as your prototypical breakout pitcher. Good stuff, good fastball, good breaking ball. The walks are going down while the strikeouts are going up. I mean, everything here screams breakout year to him. And I think with the success we saw him in the postseason and in the shortened season last year, I think this is the year. He's going to flirt with that top 20, maybe in the 18-19 range. And if you get him early on, he's going to really help your ball club. And I think the reason people aren't talking about him as much is because, last year Sixto Sanchez popped up and he pitched so well to start the season. So I think that's kind of pushed Alcantara to the sideline a little bit, and people have forgotten how good he actually is supposed to be. And I think on a Miami team where, they got a little better. They got an Adam Duvall type players to try to help the roster get better. I think we're going to see Alcantara blossom into this. I would say, if I had to compare him to a guy, I would say when Luis Castillo broke out in that 2018 range, he was an all-star with a low 3s ERA. I think we're going to see somewhere in that range, and he's just going to have the health and the numbers to really help your team, especially in the early season. Looking at the hitters, one dude who stands out to me in particular is Rhys Hoskins on the Phillies. And he's got 2 things working for him: his power and his on-base skills. Never mind the fact that he's coming off of Tommy John surgery, he plays first base. It's not that big a deal. We saw how good Ohtani was when he was coming off of a very serious elbow surgery. So I think he's looking at his numbers right here. His hard hit rate, his walk rate, super high. The reason he did not have the best slash line last year is because he struggled. But if you look at it, still an on base above 300. The batting average is going to go up. He's going to hit more home runs. And I think genuinely he can be a top 5 first baseman. And I think in a world where people are going to overpay for Freddie Freeman and Paul Goldschmidt and Jose Abreu, you're going to be able to get Rhys Hoskins on the cheaper side of things. I mean, hell, I saw in some rankings Eric Hosmer was above him, and I think that's just ridiculous. So you heard it here first. Rhys Hoskins, top 5 first baseman. This guy I'm about to show you, he fits the typical, he's a good sleeper because he's on a better team, and that man is Joe Musgrove. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not going to do much talking here. I'm just going to put up his baseball savant numbers. Yeah, they're that good. Didn't realize that when I was looking up his name earlier, and this guy's going to be a stud. The only downside I'd say is he's buried behind a damn good rotation of Darvish, Snell, Paddock, Lamet. But you know what? He's going to be the 5th starter, and he might be the best 5th starter minus the Dodgers. And he's going to get overlooked because of the names in front of him. And if you snag this guy, I mean, he might be better than some 3s and 4s on a lot of other major league teams. So Joe Musgrove should be a top priority. And I don't have to mention, going to San Diego, better team, better defense, better ballpark. I mean, San Diego is one of the best pitchers' ballparks out there. So I understand I just talked about Alcantara being like an ace. This guy is kind of like the sneaky guy. Like, imagine like when Kyle Hendricks had his Cy Young year. He was kind of overlooked because he was facing a lot of the back end of the rotation type of dudes. And this is what Joe Musgrove is going to have to deal with. He's going to be facing a lot of low-end pitchers, so he might be a good guy to get a good 12, 13 wins as well. This next dude shouldn't be by any means a sleeper, but fate has made him a sleeper, which is your lucky day, and that man is Jesse Winker. And I say this because he's been in the league for 4 years now. He's never had an OPS plus dip under 100. We've seen him have great on-base skills. He has great power. I mean, if there was no shortened season, he could have easily hit 30-plus home runs last year. He was the Reds' best hitter. And, he's guaranteed to be the starting left fielder, and he's going to get at-bats. He's going to get at-bats against left-handed pitchers, right-handed pitchers, and he plays in a great ballpark. JBP is a great ballpark for hitters, especially left-handed ones. And, I mean, this guy who's projected to be in the low 20s, I mean, to me, he can easily hit 30-plus home runs. He's in the prime of his life. There's just no downside to him, really. And the fact that he was able to go out last year, like I said before, hit left-handed pitching and still possess an elite power and on base clip is just all the evidence you need to say that Jesse Winker is a man you should draft who can round out your outfield, and for not an expensive price. I mean, looking at his ADP, he's one of the cheaper outfielders to get, and he still has that combination of power and on base. I think drafting these four players will help your teams significantly and may be what puts you over the top and puts you in the championship.